They don't have the... Oh! They're not going to cut you again. I hope not. They're not going to cut you again. They don't have the courage to do that.
Dude, this guy was the president. Can I just explain something to you? He's meeting like Canadian bro podcasters and going on Full Send podcast, 4 million views in one day. This was the president, and he's currently running for the presidency again. The planet we live in is just such an uninhabitable one, dude. I don't know. I like nothing really surprises me anymore, really.
Coming to the speech. I'm making a speech in a little while.
Are you?
As soon as I'm finished with you.
Oh my God, we have to
Oh, come on, unbutton that button.
go for sure.
Then the easy work starts. The
Exactly.
speech.
No, we were saying last time we had you on, it's a great honor to have you back. We really
That's right.
appreciate it. Last time we had you on, it was our biggest episode ever, obviously. 7 million views in 24 hours. It was crushing, going
Damn, Trump fell off. Only 4 million in 24 hours.
viral. I feel like you did such a good job too. Like everybody loved it on both.
Being a right winger is below recruit difficulty. These are on cinematic. Oh yeah, dude. Like you don't even need to be like ideologically consistent, or it doesn't even take too much. You just say like 2 genders, lol, these trans people, and then like if you have a large enough a sizable audience, like they will literally be like, oh, do you want to get the president on the podcast?
Both sides, and then YouTube took it down.
Yeah.
But you called it.
But you guys were great. You said, we will not change it. We're not going to amend it. We're not going to take anything out. And it did really hit. It was a big monster, wasn't it?
Huge. And then we saw you at UFC. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're good friends with Dana. We want to give a shout out to Dana for even putting
He's
this together.
amazing, actually, isn't he?
He's the best guy
amazing.
ever.
We walked in and he said he's never seen anything like
He's the best guy ever. Dana White. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's the best guy ever.
that.
Love
That was
Dana
a good
White.
walk-in. The place went crazy. It went
Bro, Dana White's like closest people in his life don't think he's the best guy ever. And yes, I'm of course referencing his wife, okay? Like who thinks Dana is the best guy ever? Just the absolute worst people on the planet.
Well,
When
then-
you walk in like that, do you always expect like a response like that? Or are you ever kind of nervous about what the response
Well,
is
I'm
going
not
to
too
be?
nervous about it. I feel that arena, we had 100% support. And they're incredible people, incredible fighters, great athletes. They're beyond athletes. No athlete can take punishment like that. 250 shots to the face during a round and then look forward to the second round, right? I mean, who does that? But Dana's amazing. And Dana's, one of the few people that you can say probably.
He's talking about Dana's wife, chat. 250 shots to the face in one round and then looking forward to the second round. He's not talking about like, talking about Dana White's wife.
They could never be the same without him. Everybody's replaceable, they say. As you get older, you'll hear that. I don't think you guys are replaceable from what I understand. I don't think so. But Dana's very unique, and what he's done with UFC is incredible, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
How does it feel to have that continued support from Dana? Because we know some people probably folded on you.
I do. I have continued support from Dana. And, Dana's a tough guy, and he's a smart guy, and he's a loyal person. And I helped Dana at the very beginning when nobody wanted to put UFC on, and I had places that were able to do it, and I did it. And I actually went to the first fight ever, and I said, wow, this is unbelievable. And I think we did five of them at the beginning, and then it started catching on. And Dana remembers that. A lot of people don't remember, like you endorse a politician and they forget all of a sudden if it's convenient for them. So, but a lot of people don't. Dana's a very loyal person, and he's a good friend of mine.
But when we saw you at UFC too, Dana told us you were coming. We got really excited. And I asked you, I was like, Mr. Trump, do you want to come on the Full Send podcast again? I feel like it's such good timing right now. Like, I don't know, personally, me, I'm watching everything going on here and also abroad around the world. And I just feel like it's such a good time.
Even vote? Aren't they like Canadian? Aren't they literally all Canadian? What are you watching, dumbass? Shut the Oh my God, Canada never sending its best. Whole
Time to have you on to speak, because like,
Great.
I don't care what anyone says. Like, I don't care about the backlash. Like, I feel like we need you back right now. Like, we need you back in office. And like, I feel like if people have anything against you, they got to put it aside. Cause like, I feel like you're the only one right now that can really fix the problems here and abroad.
Well, it's really nice that you say that. I appreciate it. I know you come from both sides of it, right? You have
A little bit.
You have the little bit left side and you have the little bit right side, and sometimes the strong right side, because we have to take care of our country. But we've never, as a country, been in the danger that we're in right now. You have other countries, and
Bro, is this francophone? It keeps saying we, dog. Hello? What do you mean we, bro? We, bitch? What is this? Is he a Quebecer? Huh? What? dumbass Canadian LARPing as an American conservative ass.
in particular Russia, but other countries talking the N word, which is the nuclear word in this case. And you can't use that term. You can't use,
Because there's two N words, right?
there are two N words, right? There's
Which
two
one's
N words.
worse?
They're both real bad, but you
Ooh, that's actually journalistic integrity. I take it back. That was a good question. God, you know what's funny? Ron DeSantis could never respond like this, okay? Obviously, this is like already a Trumpian invention to be like, the N-word, very bad. But then like he goes, which one's worse? Which is a good question. Actually, he's baiting him, right? Smart, respect. I'll let you stay in the country conditionally. But his response is very quick. It's very fast. Like, they're both bad.
can't use the nuclear word. You just can't do it. And if you do it, nobody used it during my term because it's so devastating. It's so horrible. If you look at the power of weaponry, the power of nuclear weapons, and all of a sudden now everybody's using it. It's like become just a common part of every speech. And that leads to very bad things. Our country has never been in the danger it's been in. We don't have ammunition. I don't know if you know that. You've been reading. You guys really keep up with it, but we have very little ammunition. I gave them a brand new, beautiful military loaded up with ammunition, and we've given much of the ammunition away to Ukraine and other places. And we're very vulnerable right now. We're very vulnerable. And now on top of everything else, we're supposed to go over to Taiwan and help them. You know, at some point, we're going to have to defend ourselves, and we're going to have to make sure that things are going along. You never heard of a problem with Taiwan, and you never heard of a problem with Ukraine just 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like incredible to see this happening.
True.
Putin would have never, ever in a million years gone into Ukraine. And President Xi of China would have never.
Shut up, everybody. Nobody ever heard of Ukraine. No one even knew the country. Nobody even knows where Taiwan is. We only had to find out about it because Joe Biden, I call him Sleepy Joe, he's the one.
He never talked about it. He wouldn't have done it. And I had conversations with both of them about.
Remember when Donald Trump, which of course continued aiding Ukraine throughout his presidency, literally said he would withdraw lethal aid to Ukraine unless they found dirt about Joe Biden? I mean, he was impeached for it. So like, yeah, I think people were talking about Ukraine. That did happen. You know, we forgot about it because like there's so much shit that has happened since then that it feels like it's just another footnote, you know what I mean? But yeah, he did do that. Literally did that.
About those subjects, Taiwan and Ukraine, respectively. And I will tell you, there was no way they would have done Taiwan or Ukraine. This wouldn't have happened. And now it's almost happening routinely. I think
they would have never done Taiwan. Dude, Trump is about to come out and be like, one China, two systems. One China. Believe me, Chinese Taipei. Joe Biden won't do it. I'll say it.
Happened that was so bad was Afghanistan, not the withdrawal, because I had it down to 2,500 troops. We were going to keep Bagram, the big Air Force base, because it's, as you know, you've heard me say it.
I do wonder what would have happened. Like, what would be the Ukraine situation under Donald Trump? I do think about that. Like, I feel like Trump would probably, I assume he would withhold aid. Like, Putin would give him a call. This isn't to be like, Trump is in the pocket of Pootie Poo or whatever. But like, he was way different in the way that he personally manages relationships with other countries that America considered their foreign adversaries, you know what I mean? So I suspect he would have taken a phone call and would have just probably been like, you know, enough about this NATO talk. Don't do it, Zelensky. I don't know. The Ukraine situation would be that there would be no Ukraine. Like, I don't think he would give away Ukraine in its entirety. You know what I mean? I don't think he would do that. He would 100%. No, because like there are still things that he can't do. You know what I mean? Like, he would 100%, but you guys are forgetting that, like, okay, Trump's lethal aid condition was getting dirt on Joe Biden, right? However, that means that he was still giving them lethal aid throughout his presidency. So, like, what do you mean? It's not like he wasn't giving Ukraine weapons. Like, he'll claim, like, NATO bad, NATO bad, NATO bad. Why is it bad? Because America is, like, facilitating NATO, and other countries are not pulling their weight. Like, it was never NATO's bad because it interferes in the affairs of like other countries and takes away their sovereignty. You know what I mean? he said NATO bad because, you know, they're not giving more money. Like he sounded like a person who didn't fully understand what NATO was doing. You know what I mean? NATO is America. You know what I mean? Anyway, who knows? Who knows what would have happened? But let's continue.
It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. That's a big deal. No, that's a big deal. And I didn't need it. We didn't need it for.
And we gave that up.
We gave it up. We gave it up. We like surrendered. And this is one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world. We just walked. You know who's occupying it very shortly? China. China's taking it over slowly but surely, and they're going to be occupying the whole thing, Bagram. And the way we left Afghanistan was, I think, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And I think that when Putin and Xi and others saw that, they said, we're incompetent. We don't know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're doing. And I think that emboldened him to go and do the Ukraine thing. And what a mess.
Bro, we had slavery in this country. What the f- is he saying? Yeah, pulling out of Afghanistan was the worst thing this country did. Which, by the way, we pulled out under conditions that he set. So, like, you know, he never had the balls to follow through on it. But America has nukes. Has nuked places.
But that country's being obliterated.
What's so strategic about Taiwan?
Well,
like, why
was pulling out bad? I honestly don't know. No, it wasn't bad. What we did after pulling out of Afghanistan is what's embarrassing. Not how we pulled out or whatever that the media tried to cling on to desperately to cut any kind of like anti-pullout narratives. No matter which president was going to do it, it was going to be like Vietnam. But what we did afterwards was really up. We seized all of their assets. We gave the entire government to the Taliban, which, by the way, Donald Trump negotiated that. For the record, very odd that like our weird two-party politics structure does not allow for honesty in that regard, because it's like not politically fashionable for Joe Biden to give props to Donald Trump or like continuing his strategy, and vice versa. Donald Trump will weaponize the media like anti-pullout narratives to his advantage to bully Joe Biden. The reality is that Donald Trump and his administration facilitated this Afghanistan withdrawal. They negotiated the terms of it, and Joe Brandon followed through on it. But now we're intentionally refusing to give Afghanistan any kind of aid whatsoever because, hey, listen, like, oh, it'll end up in the hands of the Taliban. It's like, bro, you made them the government. They are, whether you agree with them or not, and I certainly don't agree with their practices or the way that they operate, the current functional government. Not only do we refuse to give them aid, okay, we've also, on top of that, taken their money and refused to give it back to them. That's when Taliban immediately seized it right after, right? No, Taliban didn't seize anything. America withdrew on the conditions that Taliban would take over. They were operating on prior negotiations. This is literally the same thing as Trump pushing through the vaccine until it was done in time for the election and then turned anti-vax. Yes and no. Trump still, actually, you know what? That's a really good analogy because, like, yeah, Trump did Operation Warp Speed and promoted it, but he couldn't promote it too much because a lot of people are anti-vaxxers. And now he has to take this like weird stance. But yeah, I remember crowds of people booing him when he talked about Operation Warp Speed. Here's the 3-minute ad break. Now, Verender 99, they give the 521, give the subs a line. 5 people don't know how long to see the ads.
90% of the chips. You know about chips better than most people.
Yeah.
You deal in chips. But 90% of the chips and the
wait, why does he know about chips than most people?
The toughest ones, the most intricate ones, they're made in. And you know, look, they took a lot of business away from us, in all fairness. I do ask. They make tremendous amounts of money in Taiwan. And I do say, well, if we're going to defend a country, aren't we supposed to like be at least partially reimbursed?
Yeah.
Because they did take our chip industry, much of it.
It's so funny. It's such a funny thing to like demand that Taiwan give them money. The existence of Taiwan as a nation state is literally an American project. Okay? You might agree with it, you might disagree with it, but that is historical facts, okay? Taiwan would not exist as a separate nation state if it wasn't for America siding with the losing side during the Maoist revolution in China. Like, America was like, no, we're just not going to side with the communists on this. We're not going to recognize the communist government, even though they won. And we're going to side with dudes that got owned and had to, like, run into a island. We're going to say that that is the real Chinese government. Yes, until Nixon. Exactly. The idea that like you could turn around and tell that country, like, you got to give me money. Like, what are you doing? Is so stupid.
Almost all of it. And they now are, they make approximately 90% of the world's chips. So that's a big thing, because you start throwing bombs in there and start blowing up those factories and labs where they make the chips. That's going to be a big world problem. There are a lot of problems, but you know, the United States cannot do everything.
Okay, but that's a valid thing for America to do. Why do you disagree? Mao killed millions. He's not based like Stalin or Lenin. Okay, first of all, did you just say leftistly that it was valid for America to side with the nationalists? Like, what are you, the ones that lost, actually? Like, and that America decided to go along with the, Taiwan actually owns the entirety of China narrative, specifically because it was like they were anti-communist. This is an anti-Mao Stalinist. Anyway, let's continue.
And we're in a very bad position. We're in a very vulnerable position because they've given so much so fast to Ukraine that we're in a very bad defensive position. We have to build up our ammunition. Who would think that we were loaded to the gills with ammunition and everything, and we've given up so much. And now on top of it, we're supposed to go 9,000 miles away. You know, we're 9,000 miles away from, as you know, from Taiwan, 9,000, and they're 90 miles away. This is little difference. And with that being said, we want to help people out. We want to.
Insofar as the KMT's existence within Taiwan, the nationalists are already widely unpopular and cling on to only through the legacy they laid from the military occupation at the moment. Yes.
They've done things that were unthinkable. I say we don't have a free press. Look what happened to our show the last time we did a show. Mm-hmm. You had the biggest show, you had the biggest hits, you were setting records, and they took you down.
And we were wondering why us, because you have other stuff on YouTube, press, right? But you have like Fox News interviews.
I do.
We feel like we were targeted for that.
Well, I think they targeted because it was a certain point in time, but they'll probably do it again. Let's see. Will they take this show down? Maybe. Then maybe. But I love that you stuck to your guns. You said we will not change it. I think you could have probably taken certain of the things that I said and that we said together out. But you stuck, so now we'll give it another shot.
No, we couldn't.
This will be a big show.
This will be even bigger.
This will be bigger. You know why? Because we're all hotter now than we were.
No, man. No, it's not auto-updating. No, the Windows alert sound that you hear is when the OBS literally goes, OBS reconnecting, and you end up hearing that.
Here we go.
Anyway.
How much does it hurt to have people that do fold on you and switch up?
Well, look, you do what you have to do. And I just feel that I'm here for a certain reason. I'm here to defend the United States of America. I'm here to make America great again. It's a slogan, MAGA. It's become there's probably never been a slogan like it politically in this country, definitely, maybe in the world, maybe in the history of the world. But it's make America great again. And we have to put America first. Another one that came out, America first. We never put America first. We have politicians that put America last. I think Biden puts America last. It's a real problem.
What do you think? Because it seems like now that the country's more divided than it's ever been. So what would be steps to unify?
I think Biden is a tremendous divisive factor.
He's a divider.
Yeah. No, he's a divider. It's, he came on the basis from his basement saying that, going to bring the country together. Or his people wrote lines, they're going to bring the country together. No, I think the country is more divided now than it's ever been. I've never seen anything like it. I thought Obama was a big divider too, but I think.
Yeah, bro, the country is more divided than it's ever been because, like, I don't know, there's a dude who put a bunch of Supreme Court justices, appointed a bunch of Supreme Court justices with the express purpose of, like, criminalizing abortion, which the country is completely united on, by the way. You know what I mean? The country is completely united on protecting abortions, okay? Protecting a woman's right to get an abortion. But unfortunately, Donald Trump appointed Supreme Court justices and also federal judges as well have eviscerated those rights, regardless of what the country wants. And that's pretty much it. That's where the divide is. It's the divide between those who have power and those who are just like regular old, voting citizens.
You look at certain areas around Coachella. You look at some of those areas where you have those abandoned wind farms. They look like junkyards. And remember, those windmills, many of them are very bad looking to start off. Some have a better design, but they start to rust. They start to rot. And in a certain number of years, they get abandoned. And they said, let's go to another location. No, it's like it's a very, very expensive form of energy. And solar's not powerful
Very
enough.
bad.
If you look at solar, but it's just not big enough. And here we're sitting on the greatest amount of liquid gold, oil and gas.
It's so weird that, like, I don't know. Trump is like really fascinating in many different ways, but like he doesn't want to cut the regular ass like oil and gas propaganda. So he talks about how ugly windmills are and shit. Like he has to add that like aesthetic touch.
Anywhere in the world. And we have it. And we're going to Venezuela now to get it. We're going all over we're getting, and we have it. We're sitting on it. And now they want to make all electric cars where the batteries are made exclusively by minerals and other things that are in China and other places that China, like the Congo, that China sort of controls, okay? And almost nothing comes out of the United States. It's almost as if they truly hate our country. Look, they're not stupid because they cheat on elections so well, they can't be stupid. I really believe they must hate our country. Who wants an open border where people from mental institutions are being dumped into the U.S., where people from prisons, where entire prison populations of countries are being, and I do the same thing. If I was the president of a South American, or not only South American, they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping their prison population into the United States of America. They're dumping their people from mental institutions and words that aren't used anymore. Insane asylum. Did you ever hear? You're too young.
Yeah, they don't use them anymore. Yeah, dude, these guys don't know what insane asylums are. Not because they're too young, but because they are really stupid. So there is a likelihood that they might not know.
That's where Silence of the Lamb.
Of course.
That's where Silence of the Lamb happens to be.
What's his name?
Represented. But insane asylums. These are seriously sick. They are being dumped into the United States of America, these people. There was an article I read not so long ago about a man who worked in a mental institution in South America. And he said, I work 24 hours. I have nothing to do anymore because our people that are here have all been brought to America. They've been dumped into the borders of these open borders. Who wants open borders? Who wants high interest rates? We have very high interest rates now. It's really clogging up. I mean, it's really causing a big problem. You're going to have a big recession very soon. So many different things that they're doing. Even the electric cars. Not everybody wants to drive a car for an hour and a half and then have the car.
I don't personally.
Right?
Yeah, that's how electric cars work. You drive it for an hour and a half, and then you got to sit for an hour. It's not an RC car, you know what I mean?
I mean, you'd like to be able to drive for 6 hours or 7 hours and then get a nice load of very inexpensive gasoline. So it's very sad what's happening in our country. But the biggest thing that's happening, and the
Yeah, unless it's an old Tesla and you're stuck in goddamn Texas.
scariest thing that's happening, is that we've never been in a position where we're more vulnerable because of the incredible power of weaponry. And other countries have these weapons.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, because I'm watching a lot of stuff now. And to me, I feel like people are not realizing, like, how close are we to like a World War III type scenario?
One madman away. You know,
And there's a lot of them.
when I
right?
was young,
And he's like, I'm the madman to do it.
I had an uncle who was a very brilliant man.
MIT.
He was a professor at MIT.
Yeah.
And I believe he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He was there for almost 40 years, Dr. John Trump. And he would tell me about the power of nuclear, and I sort of wouldn't believe it. And he was right. The power is so massive. It's so incredibly powerful. But everybody said, because of this power, nobody will use it, because they're assuming that people are sane. Somebody will use it. And when they use it, it will be devastation like never seen before. But the theory on nuclear is that it's so powerful that no person will ever use it. But that's assuming that people are sane. Or it's assuming that people win wars, because, you're not going to use it. But if you're going to lose a war, you'll say, hey, we're losing the war. If we use nuclear,
I'm gonna
lost.
speed
That's
this
what
up a little bit.
will happen, because and I know a lot of them, they would use it. If forced, they would use it. And once it gets used, the world as you know it will end. And when I see these people talking about global warming, where the ocean will rise by
I already saw this.
1/100th of an inch over the next 350 years, where
Finally, we got some real Americans on this goddamn platform, dude.
it's going to get a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler. They don't know. You know, they talked. We used to be global warming.
They don't talk about it as much though.
No,
Do you
they
find?
don't talk. No, they
Al
call
Gore
it,
went into hiding or something.
well, no, now they call it climate change because they said it's going to get warmer.
Hey, Hassan, big fan here. Is there any way I can watch and review your taxes? Big fan here. Started following since 10 minutes ago. Can I get access to, like, you know, all of your private consumption? Could you give me your social security number, please? And platform.
Warmer, it was getting colder. Then it was going to get colder. It's getting warmer. You know, they used to say global cooling because they thought the world was going to freeze. That was in the 1920s. They had a thing, global cooling. Then it went to global warming, but that wasn't working. So now they go to climate change because that covers everything. But your real global warming would be nuclear global warming. That's a warming that will take seconds. And that's a warming that will melt granite. You know what granite is? It's a very powerful, very hard stone. If you take a look at Hiroshima or Hiroshima, as a lot of people call it, Nagasaki.
Hiroshima, as a lot of people call it. What does that? Why does he say that? Like, why does he say things like that? I mean, come on, dude. Like, it's so unnecessary, but it is very humanizing.
Where they used nuclear in a very primitive form. It actually took granite, large areas of granite, and melted it. And now it's like an ice skating rink. It melted into virtual water. And now when it hardened, it was absolutely stone cold level. It melted granite. You could hit granite with a blowtorch and it won't even do anything to it. So you're talking about a level of power, a level of heat, a level of destruction.
What is he
Nobody
saying?
talks about that.
You must be very bored with the interview if you're sniping gray names. Yeah. It's exactly the same as the Tucker Carlson interview. Yeah, I didn't watch the Tucker Carlson interview because Tucker Carlson's got no riz, unlike Donald Trump, who I thought was going to be more interesting.